If you have a fussy cockapoo, this video is for you. Now, cockapoos are one of the most wonderful baby-like dogs there are, and they are incredibly popular. However, you will have noticed that your cockapoo is all of a sudden not wanting to eat their food. No matter what you do or how you do it, they always end up getting their way, and they always end up getting you to change their food. So in this video, I am going to cover the most common problems we see all the time with cockapoos and their owners, and how you can get your cockapoo to eat their food. Now, the first thing I want to say is that in order for you to understand your cockapoo's behavior, you must understand where your cockapoo comes from. Cockapoos have Poodle in them, which is one of the smartest dog breeds that there are on planet Earth. So even though you have this little fluffy thing with its beautiful face and baby-like eyes, you have to understand that the Poodle in them is always trying to think. It's always trying to outsmart you. It's always trying to get that wheel going. So you will have to tweak your approach when it comes to how your cockapoo operates, and that is through enrichment, through mental stimulation, and through tiring their cockapoo in a way that is congruent with their breed. Now, the most common thing we actually see all the time in our branches is people with cockapoos or any other dog breeds that come and all of a sudden explain to us how they are tailoring the dog's diet and what they give the dog, and how the dog is refusing to eat the food, and how they spend so much money on all these different foods and they only end up giving the dog chicken or beef, or cooking the dog sardines, or giving the dog this or giving the dog that. Now we give the dog one thing, now we give the dog another thing. Now wet food, now dry food. Now we've tried raw food, now freeze-dried food. Whenever you start changing and swapping and trying to tailor what your dog wants you to do for them, you relinquish control over that situation, and you have to be cognizant of that. The best way for you to approach this is to outsmart your cockapoo, and all of a sudden we are going to change the framework. Instead of the cockapoo of your dog being in charge of their diet, and now you are going to be in control of their diet. The first thing I want you to do is to assess the current diet of your dog. What does your dog eat? This will be any food, any treats, and any scraps or anything else you or anyone in your family gives the dog all the time. You see, if you put down dry biscuit or wet food or whatever you want the dog to eat and they don't eat it, and we then give the dog treats, and then we give the dog bread, and then we give the dog some cooked chicken, and then we give the dog some fresh eggs, the dog is naturally going to be holding out for those treats. So the best thing for you to do is to stop all the malarkey you are undertaken and just concentrate on the food. I'm also going to assume that your dog doesn't have any health issues or any dietary requirements, for example. So if your dog is diabetic or if your dog has pancreatitis, we don't want to undertake this next level. But bear with me. Just make sure the dog is 100% healthy. What we are going to do in order for your dog to eat the food is to fast the dog for 24 or 48 hours if they are being too picky. We are going to make sure the dog is well hydrated, and you and your family or your household are going to have a talk, and the talk is going to consist of the following. I, as you, I'm in charge of the dog's diet, and please, we are all going to agree that nobody is going to feed the dog apart from me. Is that understood? We are having this problem and we want to solve the problem. Now that everybody is on board, we are going to put the food down maybe once or twice a day. You can decide, and make it time limited. If the dog doesn't eat within 5 or 10 minutes, you literally take the food away and you put it down the following morning, the following night, like that. You don't feed the dog anything else and nobody feeds the dog anything else. Next day, the following day, we try the same thing. If the dog doesn't eat, no problem, make sure the dog is well hydrated, and then the third or the fourth or the fifth day, we will do the same thing. Over 2, 3, 4, 5 days, your Cockapoo will eat. Your Cockapoo has to eat. Dogs are not biologically designed to starve. They have a very scavenging approach to food, so they will eat. The problem that we see all the time in our branches whenever people come to us or for consultations is that they are trying to get the dog to eat the food. So they will put wet food on the kibble. Now they will put chicken on the kibble. Now they will hand feed the dog chicken and hand feed the dog this. And now they will only do this at this particular time. And now they will do this in this particular way. And by you tailoring that behavior and tweaking what the dog wants you to do, the dog is in charge and you are not in charge. So that is my best tip for your Cockapoo, is that if they are being fussy, if they are being picky, and that works 10 times out of 10 really. The only thing we are going to do here is we kill them with kindness really. We start giving the dog whatever and we do the dog a disservice, and as a result it's hard for people like yourself and like me to be tough on the dog, because if you have been at work all day and the dog looks at you with those puppy eyes, you are going to be more prone to giving the dog whatever they want because it's your baby and you just want to please your baby. But if you are having this problem and it's a recurring issue, always make sure you are being stern, and sometimes you have to be quote unquote cruel to be kind. So that's what I would do really. As always, this is a nutrition channel, so make sure there's no, on the ingredients list on the back of everything you give the dog, make sure there's no wheat, no barley, no corn, no soy, no meat and animal derivatives, no sugar, and nothing too nasty. Something like animal fat, for example, or poultry fat or poultry meal. We do not want anything unspecific or anything inflammatory to go into our dog's diet. Why? Because that then develops into your pruritus, your dermatitis, and all sorts of issues. So always make sure you read the ingredients and the diet is tickety-boo. And let me tell you something, if you are having a picky dog, you are not alone. All the time we have the same problem with some of our customers, and this advice we share here with you is the one that always does help. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions. You can get in touch via the link, and I will see you in the next one.